Hello, this is a tutorial on how to do animation using Photoshop. First of all, we've got our usual setup here. Now, you want to open a new file, and whatever your sprite size is going to be, if you're making a sprite that is, or some kind of GIF, then always go higher than it. So if your sprite is going to be 64 by 64 pixels, I suggest going 640 by 640. That way when you scale it down you'll get some anti-aliasing and it'll look pretty. Okay, so background contents, you want to have a transparent background as well here. Everything else is fine. Okay. You can also title it, but you can title it when you save it. Okay, so first thing to do here is add a layer. Change layer 1 to back. And you can lock that layer just so that you don't affect it. It's the same as having a background layer, but easily just unlock it if you want to edit it. Right, so you could call this layer shadow if you need it, and this will be your main layer, but we're going to copy this main layer a few times. Okay, so I'm using a tablet. I don't know if you're using the tablet or just using the mouse, but just draw basic shapes. If I use the mouse, you know, I'll get away with drawing simple circles and stuff. Because I'm screen sharing, I don't get the right response from Photoshop at all, so I'm just going to draw something really simple. Okay, so I have to draw in these dots because of the screen record, which isn't fair because I'm trying to do a nice drawing and I can't. So I'll just draw a little dude like that. Okay, might give you lots of great ideas for games already. So please make sure you include me in the credits if you do. Okay, so that's our main one there. Now we need to bring up the animation window. You'll see here there's 3 main tracks. That's just for each of these. Now I'm going to change this to, what is it, press here. It's this button down here. If I press that, then it changes into this frame mode, which is what I want. So with this frame selected, I'm just going to control and paste it. Sorry, you have to press this here. That makes a duplicate of it. Right, and this layer here, I'm just going to right click and duplicate that. Okay. So maybe if it doesn't work, in my case it doesn't work, then you want to go up to this here and do go to your layer and do a duplicate layer. Okay, so I've got these 2 frames and I've got these 2 layers, so I could call this frame 1. What the hell's going on? Okay, call this frame 1. Bugger. I'm just going to quickly pause so I can name this because it's messing about. Okay, so I've named this layer frame 1 and I've named this layer frame 2. So if I click on frame 1 and I hide frame 2, well, it's on frame 1 and it's only going to show frame 1 plus the shadow plus the back. Click on frame 2, I can switch that over, and you see as I change, I've got frame 1, frame 2. So that means anything I draw in this frame 2 layer only be seen on the actual animation frame 2. So I can go ahead and attempt to make Photoshop work for me. which isn't happening. It's a real pain that it doesn't work right. Works right any other time. So this isn't going to look like anything really special. It's going to look stupid because it's just not easy to draw with dot like this. I just feel stupid, but never mind. You get the idea. So when I play the animation here, this bit lets me play. This here you have to change to forever, and you can set the time, 10 seconds for each frame. Yeah, it's a bit long, 1 second for each frame. So you can see how that works, and you can go ahead and you can start and mess about with, like, opacity can be animated as well. So if I draw in this shadow layer, and the shadow layer is on for both of these frames, so you've got your layers and you get your frames. That's really all you really need. So if I go ahead and draw, and once I've drawn in this layer, I've drawn in the layer regardless of the animation. It's just whether I have it set. So here in frame 1 I could set the opacity to 42%, and in frame 2 I could set the opacity to 71%, and you can see that's getting animated as well. There's also other things you can do, like you could do a tween here. So this here is a tween, and it asks you if you want to tween with the previous frame and then how many frames you want to do it over. So let's just see what happens if I do this. There's only certain tweenable things, like the opacity of the shadow or the opacity from this layer to that layer. You know, it's going to tween anything it can, and that would be the opacity or any kind of motion. So if I, for example, I could add a new layer here, could choose Control T for this guy, and I think if I move him, he's going to move in all the layers. I could be wrong. Let me pause it. Yeah, well, he moved on all layers, so I don't want that. Right, I just moved them back a bit. But there is something you can do, like you can kind of move things. I'm not too sure how you would move them from one side to the other, but if you're making a sprite, you can do that in the coding anyway, so that's no big deal. But basically, once you've got this sequence here, you've got this sequence down here, then you want to turn it into a GIF to get it into Game Maker, or you want to export all the single frames. Let's see what works. So if we export, say for web and devices, and you can choose how many colors. It will show up to like 16's maybe good enough, and then maybe change it back to 64 by 64 here. So that's my little sprite. Transparency is checked. Selective pattern, say no dither. No lossy. Forever, that's fine. I don't want it to be a GIF. Let's go for PNG 8. PNG 8, unnamed, whatever. Okay, PNG 8, and see if I can get it to spit out all these frames. So if I go save, it'll ask me where to put it, and I'll just make a new folder wherever I am. New folder. Let's call this test. Images only. Save. And let's see what happened. So that would be, okay, so it just saved, it saved a single frame. By the looks of it, doesn't want that. I don't know if GameMaker actually imports GIFs, so let's try Photoshop again. Save for web and devices. Let's change that back to GIF 1 through 8, and let's go save, new folder, test GIF. But if you couldn't get GIFs into this, let's see, create sprite, load sprite. Yeah, it does GIFs. Okay, so let's find our guy. Test GIF, there we go. Remove background, make opaque. Not too sure what works there. That works, right? So he's 640. 640. He's got all his animation frames apart from a little snag on one of them, like there. Don't know why that happens. I must have done something. Either way, that's how you do that. You can edit sprite. Edit sprite, and look through the different frames here. Yeah, that's what you want now. You want to stretch it. Stretching's the thing you want to do to bring them down in size. Click on excellent and change it to 64 by 64. So you get some anti-aliasing now, and you can show preview. And you can see what's happened there. It's blended the background color into it, so there's a bit of tweaking about of how you import. So if I load sprite again, test GIF, you can see how this is turning white. It's inherited something in the back from Photoshop, or it's either the way I've exported or imported. So take away this remove background. That doesn't do it. Make opaque, remove background. You can see it's still blending away, so it's not worked right. It's not exported right. You see there, it's making the dithering through. It's making transparency through the dithering. So I don't want that. I'm getting like a fade to white kind of dither, and I don't want that either. So I have no idea why it's not give me the alpha option there as well. So perhaps GIFs don't support alpha. They just they can support a kind of masking, but not an alpha. So the best thing to do there would be to save it out as PNGs, and you would save each frame. Inevitably you would save each frame, so you could click on this, and I'm not sure if there's a way of saving as a sequence, but you save as PNG, you go frame 1. So let's go to desktop, new folder. Frame 1, and then that'll come up, say OK. I wish Photoshop would just stay on the same thing as you last used. It really bugs the hell out of me. Right, okay. I'll just do I'll just do 3 so you get the idea. So save as. Because this can be like quite a tedious process, and there might be an easier way. I don't really know much about animation in Photoshop, but I know enough. So with that done, let's go create sprite, and then you would go load sprite. I think I saved the folder on my desktop, and then you click on the first one, hold down shift and click on the last one, and that creates 3 of them. They might be mixed up a little bit. Sometimes I always get 1 or 2 mixed up, but that looks okay. So I'll click on edit sprite and transform, stretch it down so I can see it a bit better. Excellent. And it's animating there, but it's going really fast. You can barely notice it, but it's just kind of fading in there just a little bit. But at least this way he's got his transparency intact. So you kind of want to send them out as PNGs if you want to keep your alpha. If you send them out as a GIF, then you lose your alpha, and it blends alphas to white, like a default background color. So just be careful with that. That's pretty much how you do animation using Photoshop. There might be some other animation software online that you can get for free. No idea what. But there's loads of other various options, like using 3D software and rendering out a list of PNGs, and then you import them this way, which is kind of the way I work, but it's a really long-winded method, and you need a lot of artistic skills, so be wary of that. And I hope that tutorial suits you guys well for making your own little sprites. Feel free to copy this little guy if you feel you can turn them into a game. Just remember to give me credit. Right, catch you later. Bye.